Good afternoon from the National Service of the Liberia Broadcasting System. Welcome to Newsline and our presentation of the most compelling news from Liberia and the rest of the world. Today is Wednesday, the 18th of February, 2026. I am Barclay Kamara presenting. In headlines, President Joseph Boakai receives letters of credence from ambassadors designate of countries in Africa, South America, Asia, and Europe. Liberia Political Centrism Movement vows to promote national development and recommend solutions. Liberia National Police spokesperson Cecilia Clark resigns amidst controversial transfer to Protocol Department. And away from Liberia, Gabon suspends social media platforms to safeguard against conflict and division among citizens. These and many more stories, including sports, the weather reports, the news in simple English and French are coming up. First, Nakita Rabel, and the latest from the newsroom.
President Joseph Boakai has received letters of credence from the ambassadors designate of 4 countries. The countries are Venezuela, Congo, Indonesia, and the Slovak Republic. During the various presentations at the Executive Mansion in Monrovia, President Boakai expressed confidence that the bilateral relations forged will continue to create pathways for sustainable impact for all countries. The president conveyed best wishes to the ambassadors and recommitted his government's dedication to repositioning Liberia on the global stage. The ambassadors designate, however, lauded President Joseph Boakai for the warm reception and pledged their respective countries' commitment to upholding the values of friendship and mutual cooperation. President Joseph Boakai is urging all citizens to support one another, extend kindness to neighbors, and promote peaceful coexistence. In a letter to Liberian Muslims to mark the start of Ramadan, the Liberian leader called for God's protection, peace, and solidarity among Liberians. As the blessed month of Ramadan draws upon the nation in 2026, the Liberian leader extended heartfelt greetings to all Muslims across Liberia as well as in the diaspora. He said the sacred period of fasting, prayer, reflection, and charity reminds all citizens of the enduring values of discipline, restraint, compassion, humility, and service to humanity. President Boakai said Ramadan calls on all to strengthen their faith, care for the vulnerable, and renew commitment to peaceful coexistence and orderliness. The president said the devotion of Muslims during this holiday season will continue to inspire unity and mutual respect among all Liberians, regardless of creed and background. Liberia National Police spokesperson Cecilia Clark has resigned. Madam Clark resigned on Wednesday, citing unjustified reassignment at the Protocol Division of the Liberia National Police. In a communication dated February 17, 2026, Madam Clark was notified of her transfer from the Public Affairs section to head the Protocol Department with immediate effect. Addressing a news conference in Monrovia, the former police spokesperson described the transfer as unjustified and said the decision lacked administrative fairness.
My decision to resign follows careful reflection on a range of professional and administrative challenges experienced over nearly 2 years.
According to her, she could not continue to serve under the new administrative transfer, prompting her to formally resign from the Liberia National Police. Meanwhile, police sources have confirmed to Elbc News that former Assistant Defense Minister for Press and Public Affairs Sam Collins has been appointed spokesperson of the Liberia National Police. The Liberia Political Centrism Movement has reaffirmed its commitment to the principles of promoting national development and forging recommendations where necessary. According to the movement, it will not deviate from its core value and adopts meaningless criticism of the government to portray a negative picture of the government to the outside world. Councillor Kanye Babala, head of the centrism political movement, to Elbc on Wednesday that the focus of the organization is to provoke patriotism in the body politics of the country.
I said I have a lot of brothers and sisters that are there, and my relationship with them will never change. And I don't think those relationships, I hope, at least from my point of view, I don't think those relationships were forged on simply because we all belonged to the same party at the time.
Councillor Babala believes President Joseph Boakai has so far succeeded in repositioning the country on the global stage through a robust foreign policy strategy. However, the head of the Liberia centrism political movement urged government to do more with the fight against corruption and the rule of law. Meanwhile, Councillor Kanio Babala has accepted the expulsion from the Congress for Democratic Change CDC. Councillor Bala, along 3 other individuals, including Grand Jida County Senator Zoe Pennon, were expelled few weeks ago from the CDC, with the party citing gross violation of its constitution. The former CDC campaign spokesman told the Super Morning Show on Wednesday that he harbors no resentment against the party for his expulsion. Councillor Kane Babala, who declined to comment on the future of the CDC, called on hierarchies to reel from the election loss in 2023 and once more make the party a vibrant opposition political institution. The Liberia political centrism movement head said, contrary to rumors, he has no intention to join the ruling Unity Party. The Justice Ministry has termed as false and misleading reports claiming that Peter Bonjala, who is being accused of sodomizing a minor, has been released. A Justice Ministry release clarified that the accused remains in lawful detention at the Monrovia Central Prison, awaiting the court's final determination of the case. The ministry noted that aggravated involuntary sodomy of a minor constitutes statutory rape and is classified as a non-bailable offense under the law. It stressed its zero tolerance for any compromise involving the protection of minors or the prosecution of serious sexual offenses. Meanwhile, the Justice Ministry said it is prepared to facilitate verification for any concerned authority, stakeholder, or accredited media representative to confirm that the accused remains in police custody. A prominent Black civil rights activist, Melvin Fort, has described the death of Reverend Jesse Jackson as great loss to America's civil rights movement. Reverend Jackson, a mentee of the late Dr. Martin Luther King, died on Tuesday in Chicago, the United States of America. He was the founder and president of the Rainbow Push Coalition. In an interview on the Super Morning Show on Wednesday, Mr. Ford said the late Reverend Jesse Jackson was a beacon of hope for millions of Black people across the world.
Negroes. When I was growing up, we were called Negroes. The Negroes are this, the Negroes are that. Jesse Jackson is the guy who came up with the idea that we're not Negroes, we're African Americans. We are Americans of African descent.
Mr. Ford credited the late Reverend Jackson with the idea of Black people being called African Americans and not Negroes. According to him, Reverend Jackson believes in Africa and the rise of African immigrants in the United States. Mines and Energy Minister Matonuke Timba says nearly 80% of Liberia's landmass remains unexplored, citing major prospects for new discoveries and long-term investment. Minister Timba also committed government to creating a favorable environment where investors and the country can benefit mutually from mineral development. He noted that Liberia has positioned itself as one of West Africa's most promising mining frontiers following a high-level presentation at the 2026 Mining in Derby in Cape Town, South Africa. During exclusive partnership meetings and media engagements, Minister Timber described Liberia as an underexplored mineral designation with vast untapped investment opportunities. He called the country's long history of producing iron ore, gold, diamonds, but stressed that Liberia's geological wealth extends far beyond these traditional minerals. Government has announced plans to strengthen geological research and mineral mapping to improve its negotiation position with investors. According to Mines and Energy Minister Matunike Timber, Liberia lacks sufficient modern geoscientific data, limiting its ability to negotiate effectively in the past. He said recent studies, including international and Chinese-based back research, confirmed deposits of lithium, rare earth elements, and other strategic minerals. Minister Timber noted that those discoveries place Liberia in the global supply chain for critical minerals, adding that detailed exploration is now underway nationwide. Meanwhile, the Mines and Energy Minister emphasized that reliable data will help the country attract credible investors and ensure mining agreements deliver long-term national benefits. Local authorities of Chidipo, Jadiken in Riverdale County are calling on government credible organization and friends to aid over 500 persons displaced that's a result of violent storm. The storm victims are currently staying in public buildings staying with relatives and friends. Our correspondent said homes and businesses were swept away by the storm on Tuesday evening, February 17. The storm hits usually during this time of the year, and authorities have been cautioning residents to plant trees in order to reduce the impact. Meanwhile, authorities believe that urgent response to the emergency will help curb immediate difficulties and even avert disease spread. Several streets are expected to be paved in Zreju, Grangida County. This follows the approval by national government to pave 8.7 kilometers across Zreju. Our correspondent named Kunde Bypass, Alfred Dennis Drive, Charles Breeze Street, among others, as some of the major streets to be paved in the county. Citizens of the targeted areas told our correspondent the pavement would give the city a facelift and ease the difficulty they face in commuting from one point to another in Zreju. They also lauded government and local authorities for the initiative, describing it as impactful. And the National Transit Authority (NTA) is carrying out a major road assessment in southeastern Liberia. The road assessment seeks to reveal the current condition of key road networks in the southeast. According to our correspondent, the tour took NTA Managing Director Edmund Ford to Grand Coup County as governments improve transportation services for residents. Our correspondent quotes Mr. Ford as saying Grand Coup County is expected to receive a truck for the purpose of transporting goods and an assigned bus to transport residents in and out of the county. Authorities said the survey will help identify critical challenges affecting commuters and businesses.
Nikita Ravos there with the news bulletin. You are listening to Newsline on Elbc Radio. One of the big stories we're following this afternoon, President Joseph Boakai receives letters of credence from ambassadors designate of countries in Africa, South America, Asia, and Europe. The Liberia Political Centrism Movement says it will not deviate from its core values and adopt meaningless criticism of the government to portray a negative picture to the outside world. Rather, it is committed to the principle of promoting national development and purging recommendations where necessary. Councillor Kandaba Bara, head of the movement, spoke in an interview on the Super Morning Show on Wednesday.
There are those of us out there, Liberians, who made